Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. You can transform coincidences into chances. I love the way you live your life. Is every translation of the song is probably some different thing, right?
Probably.
Why is...
I haven't tested that.
Shows off the rails.
Yeah,
30 seconds in.
Right.
Why is Japanese so difficult to translate to English? Is it...
I don't think that it really is.
Oh, okay. Well, if you... just in the process of doing this show...
Yes.
We've come up with, like, 2 different names for every youma. We've come up for, all these different things.
I see
so
what
if
you're
you look
saying.
up, say, I don't know, the lyrics to Moonlight Densetsu, you're going to find, like, 10 different lyrics, and all of them are like very different in terms of what this person is saying to their absent lover. But sometimes it's that she loves the way that he lives his life.
Right.
And this is a show where
we're a couple of
Sailor
magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is a part of the Just Enough Trope Network. Today we are talking about episode number 17, Madoru wa Usagi, Youma Camera no Nesha in Japanese. Usagi's a model, the flash of the monster camera, which is the English translation, and the English title, Shutterbug.
No. We're going to fix that later. We're just going to get right past that, though. Can I do the recap?
Yes, please do.
The girls are eating lunch at school, and they are marveling over the Japan Picture grand prize winning photos by a boy named Cajun Shinokawa.
Yes.
A student at Gohangi No. 1 Junior High School.
Yes.
Which is not their high school, of course. They go to Juban, but
right.
It's nearby. And Ami is doing math while eating cookies, I guess. Anyway.
I think there's sandwiches, but yes.
Like 18 sandwiches in a box.
Yeah, they're very thin.
But it's all math, brain power food. Usagi is like, we should go get this guy's autograph because it's near the TA school for girls that Ray goes to. Now, unless you know something I don't, does this mean a teacher's assistant school?
I don't think that's what it means. I don't know what it means.
Well,
but...
once again, I guess next week we might find out what a TA school is. Let's get his autograph. Usagi says, I've got cram school, Ami says, because
that is what
Sailor Moon the show.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cajun is being interviewed, and Usagi and Naru show up. This is presumably at his school, and Ray is there. She doesn't really do a lot in this episode, spoiler, but Ray is there, and she's like, you guys are acting like groupies. You don't care about the photographs. You just want an autograph, so get out of here.
Right.
Bad news. Meanwhile, on the cliffs overlooking the ocean, presumably of Tokyo Bay,
right.
Cajun is using his giant telephoto lens.
Oh my gosh,
to take pictures of sunspots, I guess, but maybe just the sunset over the bay. And he almost slips and falls, and Nephrite saves him at the last minute and does his whammy on his camera. He's got to have a victim here, right?
Right.
So he saves him. Back at his creep house, he's in the planetarium. He's looking for stars, and he lands on Sirius. This must be a flashback. This must be what happened right before he came out and saved him, right?
Otherwise, the order doesn't make sense.
It lends credence to my theory that this is all, he's driving around in his Ferrari, and he just sees somebody out the window, and he goes, photographer, huh? And he just grabs the guy, and then he goes back and kind of draw the curve, then plot the data type thing. But anyway, he gets Sirius as the star, focusing on this guy. And by photographing young women, he'll take their energy. Scared at 1% on the dial, but that will increase as we go on in this episode. So we go back to Cajun's house. He's tooling up his camera very sinisterly, in a sinister way. Mm-hmm. And the evil seems to take a more immediate effect than other times that we've seen. Sometimes you play tennis, and it takes a little while to develop, and sometimes you immediately start working on your evil wedding dress. And this is one of those things. Like, he's ready to go right away. Yeah. And he's saying that art is explosive.
Yes.
And everything's hot. He's going to take pictures of girls. He's hot now. He's Cajun instead of Kaijin.
Yeah, right.
So he's Cajun. That's not what they were doing, but That's what I'm saying it is. Usagi is reading an ad, presumably put out by Cajun looking for models.
Yeah.
When Luna brings her a new device. It's a communication device. A little card that they can call each other on.
Yes.
So Usagi uses hers to call Ami, and she's like, hey, I'm going to be a model. And he's like, I don't think this is what this is for.
Yeah.
Anyway, great for you.
Right.
And then Usagi is going to contact Ray, and she thinks twice about this because maybe the voice actress behind Ray had a laryngitis for this episode. She's not in this episode a lot.
She isn't.
Meanwhile, in the kitchen of the Tsukino household, Shingo, who we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And if I'm crazy here, he seems a little older to me.
Oh, you think?
Kids grow like weeds. I don't know. He seemed like real young before, but he seems a little more like, hey, what's going on? Kind of like pre-teeny.
Yeah, I feel like he's like somewhere between like 10 to 12.
Well, he's got to be in elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
Because he goes to Juban Elementary.
I would say he's like 10.
11.
11?
Let's say 11.
Okay.
And he laughs at Usagi's dream to be a model. He tells her that she hates studying and she's stupid.
Which is just real sweet.
It doesn't. Not that your face and your body and your ways would be good for being a model, but also you have to be smart. He says for some reason.
Yeah. Why does he know so much about modeling?
I don't know. He's well, we'll find out next episode maybe. And Usagi is mad, of course, about this. She complains to her mom, and her mom's like, "No, he's right.
I know. They're so mean to her.
Support this girl.
I know.
Come down, Powers. Shield her right now. What is this?" But anyway, meanwhile, at Game Center Crown, Motoki is trying to cheer Usagi up, maybe get her a job with Lane Bryant. Remember, Motoki likes women with a little more meat on their bones.
Yeah,
he
okay.
Says, look, they wrote it.
I know they did.
He says that the most important thing is to keep challenging yourself. And Mamoru is there, too. I guess he's just hanging around now. He's just part of the gang.
Right.
And he also says that she'll fail. He's got a pair of, like, what he thinks are cool glasses are, but it's kind of dumb. And like when he gets up to make this big speech, he takes his glasses off and puts them in his breast pocket, which is like
so lame.
This is the 90s, man. Nobody had breast pockets. Come on. That's dumb. And tango music plays while he talks. That's weird. And he goes on a whole rant about how, man, like the world, it's so messed up today. Everybody's obsessed with looks, man. Yeah. Congratulations on your women's studies minor, guy. But I'm trying to be a model here, so forget that. And he says that a kind heart and guts are important, but she doesn't have those either.
So mean.
And
everybody
Usagi,
is like trashing on Usagi.
Another translation thing, but Usagi kind of agrees. She's like, yeah, I don't. And I don't really get
that's weird. Why
what
would
that was about.
I don't either.
But I think I'm just not good enough and smart enough to understand. Usagi is totally fed up with this and she leaves. And Motoki throws on his fedora at this part and he's like, hey man, treat her like a lady. Keep your damn hands off her. And Mamoru's like, yeah, I guess we always end up fighting. That's kind of weird.
Right.
So the next day, Usagi is waiting to hear if she got accepted into the contest. She's waiting for the mailman. The mailman arrives on his little scooter, and she gets a letter saying that she's in and to come to the New Japan Hotel tomorrow for a photo shoot.
Yes.
Well, it's off to balance books on your head because this is an 80s sitcom, I guess. She's going to be a model. She's practicing her vowels.
Right.
And she's practicing singing. She has to bring a swimsuit to this thing.
Yes.
The creepometer is now going up to about 34%.
Yeah.
I don't like this. And Usagi gets her swimsuit out, but it's been eaten by moths. So that's bad news. Is it wool? Would they eat a...
I don't think
Would they eat a swimsuit?
I've never heard
Presumably
of a moth
it's
eating a swimsuit before.
rayon or something,
yes.
right? They don't have a real hankering for synthetic fight. Well, whatever. The next day at the hotel, there's a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
They're all waiting in the assembly hall, and Cajun is there to give him... he's in a powder blue tuxedo with like a ruffled shirt. It's like this really cheesy tuxedo, which is probably, I don't know, cool at a prom now because of Zoomers.
Throwback.
Whatever. He tells everybody to go to their rooms and wait. And I want to know, who's organizing this?
Mm-hmm.
Did he pay for all these rooms?
Right.
Is the hotel in on this? Is the Dark Kingdom footing the bill? What's going on here? I don't understand.
Does the Dark Kingdom have seed money?
They must. I mean, they can afford a Ferrari, so...
In a mansion.
Luna is uneasy because Cajun's acting weird, but mostly because Usagi was accepted. That's a big red flag. So once again, how can this woman, I compare this to my theory about Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is like, Larry David is a terrible guy. He makes bad decisions. But if you look at the characters that he runs into, they're all giant caricatures and weirdos. And he's like the most normal person when he's put in a position because of a fussy guy who's selling him shoes or something like that, or whatever, one of his friends, whatever Jeff is doing or whatever.
Right.
He's the most normal person.
I know.
But he's trapped between these crazy poles. And so everybody hates Usagi on this show, like Chris Rock, and so she's doing her best.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes to her room and she runs into Naru and Miss Haruna. So everybody's in this thing. It seems like everybody changes into their swimsuits, and Usagi has, in a little burst of creativity, has tied ribbons through the muff holes. I guess they all line up good in her swimsuit. So it's like a little cute thing, and it's Marie Kondo would approve. Like she's doing her best with this. Luna, meanwhile, is scoping out the pool, and she sees Mr. Explosive Art literally fire a ray out of his camera and make the girls that he's taking a picture of disappear. Yes. So okay, we got bad news. She runs back to tell Usagi, and Usagi doesn't believe her. And come on, at this point, like, we know the dystopia that Tokyo is in this world. How many monsters have you literally dispatched on your own?
Right.
But anyway, whatever. Luna persuades her by threatening to tell people about her moth-eaten swimsuit if she doesn't help out. I'd have called that bluff. I'm like, all right, talking cat, tell everybody.
Right.
Go for it.
Right.
See what happens. But she does it anyway. She gets her Avengers card out, and she calls Ami, and she says, I'm at the New Japan Hotel. Come see me be a model. There might be a monster.
I know.
So meanwhile, so everybody's in their swimsuit, and there's this runner where they keep talking about how they've gained weight or whatever. There's two runners. There's a runner where I think I get the one where Naru is a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old or whatever, and so she has a modest swimsuit, and Miss Haruna's got, it's a one piece technically, but it's got like a cutout. It's a little more pieces. Adult. But Naru sees her and she's like, whoa. And then Miss Haruna's like, oh, I think I've gained weight. And then it keeps going. Everybody keeps saying that they've gained weight because it's a show for girls. But it's still a good show. Usagi is a little unfocused, but she's ready to go to this photo shoot. And she doesn't seem like she's really worried about the monster. So Luna steals one of her ribbons. Yes. And so she runs off and she gets away from the group. The group ends up at the pool area where Mr. Explosive Art is taking pictures of everybody, and she's there to witness Naru and Miss Haruna disappear when they get their picture taken. Yes. Usagi at that point just transformed, but she just runs out. She's so mad because I think she's taken some of these lessons about art that have been drilled into her to heart, and so she confronts Cajun, but he says that he doesn't care. He wants to snap pictures of girls. Boom, boom. Yeah. And Usagi tells him that if he doesn't care who his subject is, that he's a third-rate photographer, which of course Mamoru said to her before at the game center, but she was listening and she didn't know she was. And I love that she's appealing to his sense of art. But yeah, she transforms into Sailor Moon at this point. She must have had the medallion in her swimsuit.
Yeah,
I figure the medallion is important to her transformation, right?
I think it is.
Yeah, but anyway. And she confronts him, as she usually does, but I like that she actually is, like, she calls the monster out, basically. Like, she's just like, all right, get out of there. Let's do this. Come on.
Not waste
Wherever
time.
you are. Yeah, let him go. And he shoots lasers at her out of the camera, and she dodges them, and Sailor Moon kick.
I know!
In the camera, knocks the camera out. Falls in a pool. We're all fine, except not. We get our first chlorinated Yuma, Cameron.
I know.
How do I not give this 0 points for that? But we'll take it. A Yuma forms out of the seawater, and it's Cameron. And Cameron blasts Cajun and Luna, and they disappear, and they turn into photographs.
Yeah.
Look at this photograph. It's got your space cat in it. Bad news. She corners Sailor Moon at the last second. Mercury and Mars arrive. We get a Shaban spray, and we get some prayer slips from Ray. But Cameron shoots him down.
I know.
With her with arm guns. And she lasers the two girls, and they disappear as well.
Yes.
And now Sailor Moon is all alone. There's this great moment where like a bummer version of her transformation song is playing. It's like not quite a minor key, but it's like a slowed down version of her theme.
Yes.
And it looks pretty bad. Her back's against the wall, But fortunately, that wall is a mirror, and she realizes
Yes.
that if Cameron takes a picture of herself, that she's toast. So she backflips over Cameron at the last second as she shoots a laser at her, and it reflects off the thing, and she doesn't like disappear, but she's sort of weakened. She's sort of like melts.
Yeah.
She's ugly.
Right.
She was pretty before, and now she's ugly, maybe reflecting her inner ugliness, you know?
Good
And
point.
so she's disabled. Then we get the old MTA takes her out, and she like burns to death. It's weird because most youma sort of just disintegrate.
Yeah.
They just sort of fall apart. But like she's like blue flames are coming out of her,
Yeah.
and she's sort of like consumed from the inside. So I thought that was really neat. Everybody comes back, and back in the creep house, we're not done. We go back to the creep house. And Zoisite appears to taunt Nephrite
Yes.
about his failure. But Nephrite's like, there's plenty of energy on Earth. And you're supposed to be looking for the legendary crystal that will wake the great ruler. How's that going? So a little
Right.
tension there between them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the Sakino household, the Sakinos minus Usagi are watching TV. And Cajun is being interviewed, and he says that he is taking a break from photography until he can find subjects that care about love and justice. And he says that he learned that lesson from a wonderful girl. And the family's like, geez, I wish Usagi was like that girl. Which I know they pick on her too much, but that is great. That's such a Clark Kent or a Peter Parker moment, you know, like when the
Yes.
looter attacks the museum and Peter Parker's like, hey, get out of here. And Gwen Stacy's like, what a coward. And then Spider-Man
Yeah.
swings in and takes out the looter. And then Peter Parker shows up later. And she's like, where were you, Peter? Everybody was trying to fight the looter.
Right. Exactly.
So it's
You
that
disappeared.
problem of having a secret identity. But meanwhile, Usagi is in her room dreaming of being a model.
Yes. Which is a nice way to close out the episode.
We got to do something.
Yeah, I know.
Your Honor, a courtroom is a crucible. In it we burn away irrelevancies until we are left with a pure product, the truth, for all time.
Oh man, this is so intense. Data's on trial for his life.
I know. This episode, The Measure of a Man, is based on the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision of 1857.
And every week on Backtracking, we take a look at the real-world events that inspired classic Star Trek episodes. Sorry.
Who are you?
We're the hosts of Backtracking. I'm
You
Caliban.
will both be taken to the brig and from there to the nearest starbase, where you will answer charges for what you have done.
And I'm Gooey Fame.
This is not a game. This is life and death.
You can follow us on Twitter.
Backtracking is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
You go f*** yourself.
Kyoru Miru, curiously looking around, we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. I thought we could talk a little bit about photography in Japan, and kind of something that I came across was that there are certain rules and regulations in places where you can and cannot take photos
Which-
in Japan.
Can I just
Yeah.
do it quick and then we'll be done with
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Isn't that super ironic?
Yeah, there's a huge stereotype that Japanese tourists love taking photos, and I've seen it.
Right.
It does
Well, I
happen.
mean, but I mean, like, so do Western people like taking photos
Right.
on vacation. But I just think it's
Exactly.
funny. Like, you go to Japan, you go, all right, I got my Nikon, let's do this. And
I
they're
know.
like, excuse me, not right now. Excuse me,
I know.
please.
Yeah. So I thought we could talk about some kind of common courtesies and things to be aware of when you visit Japan.
Sure.
So there are some museums that ask you to not take photos, and that's posted pretty obviously at the museums. There are a lot of shrines and temples that have certain sections and areas that are not supposed to be photographed. This usually has something to do with the site being spiritual or sacred, and that has the reason why photos are not allowed.
Interesting.
There's usually some sort of fairly obvious signage. I did experience this when I was in Japan, and it's not always super well marked. I was at a shrine and or temple, and I accidentally took a photo of something I was not supposed to take a photo of, and somebody who worked there yelled at me in Japanese and pointed at the sign, and I immediately felt incredibly horrible and like so bad that I deleted the photo out of respect. Like I just was like, I can't even have this in my camera. This is really bad. So,
Sure.
Yeah. Something to be aware of though is shrines as opposed to temples don't necessarily have rigorous hours of when they're open. So you can go to them either like really late or really early and get some great photos where there aren't as many people around. So selfie sticks are not allowed in certain locations. This includes the JR West train station. This is more of like a safety sort of reason because sometimes when people use like selfie sticks, they're not necessarily aware of their surroundings. So, I mean, that's just something to be aware of. It's generally okay for you to take street shots in Japan as long as like an individual is not identifiable. If an individual person complains about you taking a photo of them, you could possibly be brought to the police station. It is important that you are asking people who are recognizable individuals that if you can take their photo or not. And this goes for street fashion as well, like in Harajuku. It's really important that you ask the people if you can take their photo or not. There are a lot of concert venues that prohibit videos, photos, and audio recording. Initially, you might just be asked to leave, but you could be, thrown out of the venue. So that's no fun.
Huh.
It's a no-no to take photos of other commuters on trains and buses. So just don't do that.
Well, that's pretty soon.
You can take photos of the outside going past and like videos of that and stuff. That's totally fine. Most attire stores ban photography in their stores due to not wanting anyone to copy their clothing. And this is probably one of the most well-known just recently. Kyoto's Gion district, as a late October, put a ban on photography in Gion's private homes and streets. Anyone who is caught in violation of this will be charged 10,000 yen. That's $92. So in recent years, a lot of tourists have kind of soured this area for a lot of people who work there, mainly geisha and maiko who work and live in Gion.
Yeah.
A lot of tourists were taking pictures of them and not asking if they could.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, who are these tourists?
I know. But apparently it was happening a lot that they felt like they had to put that in place.
But they're not American.
No. And I just wanted to talk about a couple other things with photography. Like one thing that's super popular that you see all the time in Japan is like people doing the peace sign, and that's still popular to this day. Did
they invent the heart?
I don't know. That's
heart
a good
hands
question.
Or whatever.
I feel like that's done a lot too.
Yeah.
When you take a photo, instead of saying cheese, they say the Japanese version of that is Cheesu. So you say, hi, Cheesu, and you take the photo. And this is another little known thing. Being a foreigner in Japan, you will most likely be approached by Japanese people at some point who would want to take your photo.
Please take a picture of the top of our heads.
Are you serious?
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, why would they? You don't take your tripod and then crank it up 6 feet.
Well, yeah, I know. But this usually happens at sites that are open to the public, like shrines and stuff like that. I was approached one day at a temple in Kyoto and asked by a Japanese person if they could take my photo. I said yes, but I immediately regretted it in this particular instance because they had a
photo of you.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they had a huge lens and they zoomed way in on my face. I was like, is this just going to be my face or is this going to be like my eye? What is happening here? It felt really invasive. That's not common.
How far away from you were they?
I swear they were like within a foot. It seemed like that anyways.
I'm collecting a picture of Cajun pores, and so hold still.
Right?
Yeah.
It felt like it was like a coffee table book or something for them. I don't know. Maybe that was just me being weird, but
Did he have a release?
Weird experience. Huh?
Did he have a release?
No.
Note to creepers everywhere. Bring fake releases, right?
Right.
Clearly, that was just for his use then.
I think so. And
but
that's
if you give
why
somebody a release, they're like, "Whoa, look, I'm going to be in a book."
that made me feel like, oh, I wish I could delete that photo. There are also some events that I went to when I was interacting with Japanese culture where photographers just came up and like took my picture. So they didn't ask me if they could take my photo, and that felt kind of invasive, but that happened a lot.
Unbalance in these rules here.
Yeah. But there was at least one instance where I was like on stage for something, doing something, interacting with Japanese culture, and there were so many cameras in my face that I actually took a picture of all the photographers because it was insane.
Wow, it's a meta of you.
Yeah, I know. But it can be intense. But know your P's and Q's when you visit Japan with photography.
I know that I guess we talked about idols before, like
Yes.
singing idols.
Yes.
I mean, I guess we're not going to talk about like models this time around. I don't know if there's a difference in models like in Japan, like if it, because like the supermodel as it was invented in the 90s or whatever is sort of
Yes.
like a worldwide thing, like you could shoot anywhere, right? That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's like a difference in like the Japanese model industry in terms of them being managed like idols, but anyway, maybe something for I don't know.
Something for
Sailor
future-
Pluto will want to be a model sometime in the future. We can talk about it then. But something that I found was interesting was I saw a video on YouTube connected to the idol thing on a channel called Asian Boss. And they talked to I think a Korean woman who was part of a K-pop group. And she talked about some of her experiences just working in the K-pop industry and how tough it was and how they're treated like hourly employees, like basically, and they have to like pay for like. This group was fortunate enough to go on tour with Lady Gaga, or like open for her on a leg of her tour, and they had to pay for their own expenses because that wasn't them taking a train to Osaka and performing, in a park or something like that. Like that. And my thing is like the management company. That's the most Western exposure you're gonna get. There are so many Americans who would never have heard of you. That's all free publicity.
Right.
And you're making these poor girls like buy their own plane tickets to go sing with Lady Gaga. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So anyway, you don't want that life, Usagi.
No, you don't.
Take those books off your head.
Ichitakimasu with Usagi, when we talk about what did Usagi eat in this episode, she had a beautiful little bento at the beginning.
Do they eat in class? I think we've seen them in like a lunch room before, right?
Well, so I think it's very commonly portrayed in anime where they eat actually in the classroom. Like they have their lunch break in the classroom.
But does that happen in Japanese schools?
I think it does, but like the all-girl school that I went to had a cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I brought my lunch, I ate it in the classroom. When I didn't bring my lunch, I went to the cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
it's just available for you.
Like that? I don't know.
Okay.
But it is a very typical bento box, probably prepared by her mom.
Sure. What were those thin sandwiches that Ami was eating?
I don't know what the sandwiches were. I just knew that they were sandwiches.
Do they do like peanut butter crackers and stuff like that? It could just be like peanut butter crackers.
They don't really do peanut butter.
Oh, interesting.
I had to get... My mom sent me peanut butter in a care package.
Okay.
So...
It's heavy.
Yeah, I know. It was a big jar of Skippy.
Expensive
but
to airmail.
Yeah, I know, right?
What about the wool? The moths ate
the
wool.
Moths ate wool.
Itadakimasu with the moths.
I know.
Itadakimasu with Usagi.
Very nice. I like that. So I just wanted to talk about what's in her lunch.
We've talked about a bento before, haven't we?
I know. So she has rice, cherry tomatoes. The eggs are tamago yaki.
Yeah.
Which is the Japanese rolled eggs.
Yeah.
That's really popular.
I want to learn to make those.
It's really, I think it's fairly easy to make. You just do like a thin layer, and then like traditionally you
They're
like,
sweet though.
They are a little sweet.
Yeah.
And like you curl them up with like chopsticks, I
Yeah.
think. But yeah, I think I've seen videos on how to do it. And then like it's hard for me to make out what the rest of it is. Some sort of protein, I'm sure.
Lunchables.
And then like maybe some pickles or something like that. But she does have a chopstick case that has her name on it. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, it says Usagi.
Okay.
And then she's drinking like a little carton of milk.
Sure.
And there are websites that talk about like the typical elements that go into a bento box. And then you mentioned Ami eating her sandwiches, also with milk. And Usagi's mom is eating dinner, maybe some kind of soup or stew. And then later, Shingo is eating a slice of watermelon.
Right.
Which seems kind of random. But
I suppose it just looked like a curve, but shouldn't it be like a right angle? Are there watermelon slices?
Oh, the square watermelons?
Like right triangles?
Well, I think the square watermelons, I think that's a specialty.
Oh, okay.
You know? So like I think there are watermelons there that are not square.
Sure.
But yeah. So My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, where we talk about fashion and Sailor Moon. I wanted to mention like Shingo's like outfit. I don't know if it's like his school uniform, because it doesn't seem like it. It's like blue shorts and a white shirt with like blue accents and then like a blue anchor. Yeah. So it's very sailor-y themed.
Yeah, I thought it was a school uniform too. I was trying to figure out, because it's an episode about models, you think there would be a lot of fashion, and I didn't feel like there was really a ton of fashion stuff, but there's the swimsuits, of course.
Yes.
And, you know, we see our main characters' swimsuits, but all the other girls go by so fast, I didn't really get an idea.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't really get that either.
Early 90s, you know, junior misses swimsuits would be like.
Right.
Creep needle going up higher.
Oh, no. I did think it was creative of her to use ribbon.
Well, yeah. That was, I gotta say, we've never hit this before, but making fun of Usagi and the elements of her character that are baked into the premise, you're always going to have a little bit of dumbness here, quote unquote dumbness, owning it.
Yeah.
But we're at a Dumb Bunny 1 on this, I think. She is entirely motivated by her inherent character traits, which is a bit of vanity and wanting to do something spectacular, even though it makes no sense.
Right.
But she is, you know, she has integrity, and she follows the values that she develops over the course of the episode, and she comes up with a great fix for the. If she had made it into that picture and the photographer wasn't a raving weirdo who was possessed by a demon, people would have remembered that girl with the ribbons on her bathing suit.
Right. He had crazy hair,
and also like a medallion and Avengers card stuffed into it as well.
I know, right? I wanted to mention Usagi's blue jumper with a sleeveless white shirt that has like a hood.
Yeah.
And then like she has like a crescent moon pendant with that too, which I think is just really nice.
Nice.
And then Naru and Miss Haruna's outfit when they first meet Usagi, like I don't know what was going on there. Again with the kind of sailor-ish theme, like Naru is wearing like a yellow shirt with kind of like a sailor collar that's blue and white striped and has like a little blue bow. And like then she's wearing a yellow bow and like white shorts. And then Miss Haruna is wearing like a blue blouse with like a white collar and buttons, and then like a straw hat with like an orange ribbon.
Right, yeah.
And then I saw a close up of it online, and that she has like a tiny little orange bow tied at the very end of her hair.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. As an accent, I don't know.
And then she's wearing a long yellow skirt with buttons on it. It looks really old fashioned. But it's just like, I don't know what's going on there. And then, of course, Usagi's dress from her dream, which is this really frou-frou, like sugary pink full skirt with a bow and off the shoulders with like roses and then bows on her buns. Wow. And she sparkles. Yeah. You know, when that's going on.
It's real. It's, you know, I'm writing a letter to daddy. Sort of. It's I wouldn't call it sophisticated, but
no, it's like at a 10, you know. Well, something else that I think honestly rates pretty high in my book. Is villain gauge, rated baddie, 1 out of 5, dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. Our bad guy's name is Cameron.
Cameron.
Which is just basically camera with an N.
Yeah. Well, look, be thankful the Shutterbug disease hasn't gotten over there.
I
Hasn't
know.
crossed the Pacific. Because
I know.
It's Shutterbug. No, it's great. This is another top of the line.
Right?
Youma, as far as I'm concerned.
Me too.
Like, entrance, on point.
Yeah.
Look is amazing.
I know.
She's got like... First, she's got like this cool hair. It's like a kind of like a Veronica Lake peekaboo type thing, sort of. And then
and it's blue.
Yeah, and her gown is like, it's like this asymmetrical gown or dress. I don't know what you want to call it, but it like has no bottom. Like she's just in like a V, like a thong, but then like it goes down one leg and it's weird and strappy.
Yeah,
and then it's got wings, but I don't think the garment has wings.
No, I think
because
that's
she's
her.
only got a sleeve on her right arm.
Yeah,
so the left arm she has like these horn things that come out of her shoulders.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's very weird.
And she shoots lasers, like her hands like turn into you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Neon Genesis Evangelion, like the angels. Like it was just this weird,
and creepy.
Yeah, like body horror-esque type thing. Like her hand spreads out and the thing like comes out. Like she's got an eye in her palm.
Eye on her hand?
Yeah, that shoots out things. And then I don't know if this is her or it's like the spell of Nephrite, but like it turns the room all red and glassy. Like she transforms like the area around her.
Yeah.
And she dies like a baller because she like burns up in this blue flame. And,
yes.
Yeah.
And
so
she's like taking them out. Like she takes a picture of you.
She takes everybody out.
And then you're caught in a photo. When Mercury and Mars got caught in a photo, I was like,
it's got to go high.
Whoa.
It's got to go high if she takes, all the sailors except our girl out. So
yeah, and she took Luna out too.
Yeah, you don't see that often.
No, you do not.
I got to go 5 on this one.
Oh, strong. Very strong.
I'm going 5.
I gave her a 4, but I kind of think I have to change to a 5.
You can't change. These
Why
are sealed on. This is like playing Clue. You got to open it up.
All right, fine. I gave her a 4, but maybe I should have given her a 5.
Well, you should have had faith.
I guess
in that
I should have.
Shutterbug.
Is there any? Do you think there's any connection with her and Sirius, like at all? Or do you think they're just?
I think about this a lot because they bring up these stars. I don't think so. I mean, maybe. And remember that different cultures have different interpretations for mythology and what the stars mean. They're going by the Latin names. They're often going by the Latin or Western constellations as well.
Yeah.
But I can't find any connection because you think Sirius, here's a perfect chance to have a dog, Youma or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But they don't. So no, I don't think that has any. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll look
weird.
into it, but I don't think so.
It's very strange. So now, so I wanted to talk really quick. We did mention the Sailor Moon kick before. That's the first time we've seen this. I think kind of random.
That she might have just improvised that.
She might have. Maybe she's just doing Sailor. Fill in the blank.
Yeah, at the beginning of the confrontation when she doesn't even confront him as a superhero, she's just. She's mad and she's, her sensibilities atrophied as they are. Her sense of aesthetic, trueness is sort of violated by this guy. And so she's just kind of going off on him. And so maybe that's still kind of in her as she transforms into Sailor Moon. And it's more, Sailor Moon kick. She's just kind of like... She's just kind of making it up as she goes. This is a Sailor Moon. This is kick him. This is a Sailor Moon kick. Yeah.
So in this episode, Shinakawa, when he was possessed, said the phrase "Gaijitsu wa bakudan da," which translates to mean "art is a bomb" in English. This is a variant on the phrase "Gaijutsu wa bakuhatsu da," which translates to "art is an explosion," which became a well-known phrase by artist Taro Akamoto, who is a visual artist known for his symbolic and innovative sculptures and paintings.
Okay.
He actually passed away in 1996.
Huh.
So
That was right around the time of Soy Bomb, too. So, of course, this predates that. Look it up.
So I thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
It is. Let's rate the episode.
Yeah, let's rate the episode 1 to 5 roses. I thought the bad guy was really good and scary in it, and it had overall good message. And I guess Usagi said, you can't judge how beautiful a girl really is by the way we look. You have to look at our hearts and our love of justice. So I think that's pretty strong.
Yes, justice. Very important.
I know.
All the magazines will tell you.
Yeah, so I give this a 4 out of 5 roses.
Does he love you for your sense of justice? I've got to go 5. Everything I've described at this point, the Youma's on point. We've got a great arc for Usagi. We've got a lot of moments, a lot of coloring in of the edges. We are a little bit dimmed by the potential creep factor, but I feel like we get out of it okay. Little jokes about swimsuits or gaining weight or whatever. I think that this, unlike a lot of shows for children, is possibly, it's not quite to the Pixar level, but it's possibly aimed at adults as well. I think that there are things in here that only somebody with a more sophisticated knowledge of the world could enjoy.
Sure.
Art is an explosion. Like, who's going to get that?
I know.
So, it's creep potential is bypassed, I think. And I don't do halves anyway, so it's got to be 5.
All right. Fair enough.
5 thrown roses.
My English title is Violent Flash, Shoot for Justice.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I think I can top Shutterbugs.
I think you probably can.
Although, I think I forgot that it was Shutterbugs, and if you had just said, "What's your Deke title?"
Yeah.
I would have said Shutterbugs. Mm-hmm. So I came prepared. Gone in a Flash.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my
Good
first
night,
5.
everyone.
You didn't. Come on.
Yeah,
You're not gonna
it's
throw a
pretty
party
awesome.
for my
Way
first
to
5
go.
rating.
Woo! Woo! Good
We
noisemakers.
did it.
Yes.
The show is, I think, coming into its own. And when I complain about things, they get fixed. So whoever's listening to this and has access to a time machine, thank you. Because I previously said that Usagi's getting sidelined in her own show.
Right.
And we added 2 girls, but why? And, we're focusing in more on individual characters. But yet we're not forgetting where we came from. And we're using every aspect of the show well, and we're moving forward plots bit by bit, even though it's just a kid's show, and who cares what Hulk Hogan and the Rockin' Wrestlers are doing this week. Like, it's delivering on.
Right.
Yeah, it's very sophisticated.
No, I agree.
Shutterbugs.
Shutterbugs, yes. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 18. Shingo no Junjo, Kanashimi no Furansu Ningyo in Japanese, or Shingo's Love, The Grieving Doll, the English translation, and the English title, Dangerous Dollies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thought hard about that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they did.
Well, we'll be there next week.
That's
with
right.
Dangerous Dollies.
Well, that's our show for this week. In the name of the moon, we'll be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Weekend. Happy end.